Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Sargent number 90. This is a cylinder ring from Sargent, and this is the 1/4 inch size, and it's available in different sizes and finishes. And we'll go over that in a moment. This video is just to provide some visual and dimensional evidence of this item. So it's a cylinder ring, it's a blocking ring. A blocking ring generally just fills the empty space between the front of the door or the face of the door to the underside of the generally a mortise cylinder, but it could be a rim cylinder as well. This is the 1/4 inch size, and this caliper is telling me 0.249, so basically a 1/4 inch. And the thickness, the outside diameter, 1.354, 1.354 on the outside. Then the ID, 1.179. 1.179 on the ID. Okay. Now, there is some supporting documentation down below. Let's switch to the screen view and take a look. Okay, so this is the item that we're looking at. It tells us that it is 1/4 inch thick, and this is the satin chrome item. Now, there is a link below this video to the cut sheet. Let's click on that and review. So on the cut sheet, what we're seeing here is the blocking ring, the number 90 series blocking ring, used with rosettes as spacer when mortise cylinder projects from face of door as shown above, or maybe below, as shown below. This would be a compression collar, cylinder collar, either a straight blocking collar like the 1 KB, which is, I believe, the standard ring that you're going to get with 8200 series locks. But when you need to fill additional unused space, you can use a blocking ring, and you can stack them together. Let's say you had to get to, 1/2 inch. Well, you could take a couple of 1/4 inch, or however you want to stack those. Consult 8200 series catalog for blocking ring application details. That's literally going to just talk about the way in which, depending on the trim, what you're using. And that chart we do have attached here as well, and basically shows, cylinder lengths, door sizes, what sort of cylinder collar and or blocking ring you would use. So just a helpful chart, gives you an idea of the proper type of cylinder length, and therefore what collar or blocking ring you would use dependent on the door thickness. And I think following the table information that is here, you can extend that out if you have an unusual door thickness. Okay. So brass, bronze, or stainless, that'll be dependent on the base material. This is they call it 26D. It is marginally magnetic. Ever so slightly marginally magnetic, which tells me it's likely stainless steel, what this item is made of. Brass would be thoroughly non-magnetic. Stainless will pick up some magnetic properties when it's been machined, so it's possible this item is just simply stainless steel that they're passing off as satin chrome. Wouldn't be unheard of. 1 3/8 diameter available in a 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, 3/16, 1/4, and 3/8. Those are all listed in the site. Finishes are listed here. And we do have to specify that thickness when ordering. It's not enough to just say a number 90 blocking ring. We need to know 90 and then the thickness of that blocking ring. Other cylinder collars are listed here as well for your use. There is a link here below this video to the manufacturer's page that will allow us to review not only all of the Sargent products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog, which is here. Other encyclopedic documents from Sargent, such as technical manuals. Here's a Sargent degree key system technical manual. There's going to be a 80 series parts manual that's here. Removable core keying and assembly manual for their 6300 large format core. Archival catalogs, quite old Sargent catalogs that are well over 100 years old. And other encyclopedic documents. Okay, let's wrap up this video on camera. Now, a very typical and common use for a blocking ring is simply the fact that you have too much cylinder for the application. So, a typical, let's just think of an aluminum storefront door that's 1 3/4 thick. And if you go to the center line of the thickness of the door, that's going to be 7/8. So mortise cylinders are measured from the underside of the head to the back of the cam, and that cam is typically about 1/8 of an inch thick. So if you wanted to have the back of your cam basically centered in the thickness of the door, or maybe just shy of that by 1/16 of an inch, you can understand that you need a cylinder that's really no longer than 13/16, no longer than 7/8. Anything longer than that is just too much cylinder. Well, what if you have a 1 1/4 removable core cylinder housing? You're going to need a cylinder collar. You'll very often see 7-pin interchangeable core, small format interchangeable core cylinders installed on grocery stores with their sliding doors. Always blocking rings there because they may have an 1 3/8 length cylinder, whatever it might be. So be mindful that calculating the cylinder ring that you're going to need is the next thought after, I need a cylinder. Okay, do you need a blocking ring? It would be very unusual for you to, not need one, and it would be almost unheard of to not use one, even though I had a job recently where the client had an 1 3/4 thick door. They were adding 1 inch to the outside of the door. They were laminating some material to it, furring strips, and then they were applying something to it that added 1 inch. And what we really needed in that case was a cylinder that was going to be and then the lock body wasn't centered exactly in the door. What we were going to need was a cylinder that was, at a minimum of 1 3/4 just to work with the thinnest of collars. But the longest cylinder we could get our hands on quickly was something unusual, like 1 5/8 or something of that nature. The client, in this case, the limitation on what we could get our hands on served the client's ultimate purpose anyway, because they wanted the hardware to bleed into this door. The problem was the manufacturer of the cylinder for their removable core, after 1.5 inch length, the next length they made was 2 1/4. So 1.5 inch was never going to work. It was the cylinder head would have been below the face of the door, the panel. 2 1/4 would have stuck out obscenely. So we were able to get an 1 5/8 cylinder luckily in the keyway that they wanted, and they were going to simply route, like use a Forstner bit, install that cylinder so the head was literally flush to the face of the door, and that's what they were doing. I would not advocate that sort of prep where you do not have the ability to finish off the edge of that cut, but very unusual that they would go about installing a cylinder in that fashion. The point of all of this is that a cylinder collar is in almost all instances going to be something that you need to think about. A blocking ring and or a collar, spring-loaded or not. There you go. The name Sargent is quite synonymous with commercial building hardware and has been for about 170 years. They are a comprehensive provider of exit devices, mortise locks, mortise and cylindrical locks, door closers, grade 1, grade 2 sort of scenario. Exceptional technical support. Their catalog is incredibly detailed, where you are maybe initially bombarded with all of the potential options that can be done on exit devices and lock sets, things of that nature. The downside of that catalog and so many options is it's quite intimidating if you're just looking to get a part number, okay? Because you're hit with all the information. The upside is Sargent is capable of producing hardware for every possible application, it seems. Any questions on the number 90 1/4 inch thick cylinder collar and 26D finish, or any other Sargent product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.